Program is about to beginning, folks. Okay, am I on now? Am I live? Yes, folks. Greetings. Welcome back. Um, had a little difficulty hearing everything here on this end. And this is Vaughn for We Healed Nation. Another episode of The Awakening, The Great Awakening. Yes, it is the calm before the storm, folks. Things are about to heat up. If you thought it was, wow, rocky and turbulence, oh my goodness, what is coming? So much to reveal. I'm not going to do too much revealing tonight because, I'm going to let the big guys do their work. I'm just a little one in this whole revelations and ascension time, and I'm going to take my place. So I have a few information to bring to you this evening. However, the big stuff, the big storm that is headed on all fronts. Right now there's a storm. I don't know if it was expected, but there's a snowstorm here. Not really like a blizzard, but there was a lot of snow. I went out earlier with my eldest granddaughter, and she was excited because I bought her, I spoil them. I bought her drawing books and, or sketch pads and crayons. She loves it. She has this laugh whenever I ask her if she wanted something that I know she enjoys. She laughs like this. So I know when I do that and she responds like that, that means go ahead. She likes it, Grandma. So yeah, we had a kind of few of those. When she says nothing, that means to just keep moving, Grandma. No, keep moving. But whenever she does that little I know she loves it. So it was very, and I encourage you guys to enjoy life with your family, your friends, your little ones, your grands, whatever. Just regardless of what's going on around you, find these blissful moments, no matter what it is, no matter how simple it is. As it is in my presentation announcements for this program, the simplest thing, be blissful in it. Be happy in it. Be grateful in it. And it was such a good time. And she kept laughing at me because the sidewalks were not cleaned yet. And I would always step in the wrong place and my foot would slip into the street and she'd be cracking up. And I'm like, "You're laughing at me?" And she's like, "Yep." And she's like, You're falling all the time, Grandma." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. They have to clean these sidewalks." So at one point we came across where it was cleaner. And she looks at me and smiles. "Okay, you're not going to fall anymore, Grandma." I'm like, "Thank you, because I don't want you laughing at me like you laugh, like with this crazy laugh she does." But it's simple as it sounds. I was on cloud nine, just spending that little date with her, just walking in the snow, just falling big flakes, having fun. She has the March break. That's the oldest one, but the other two are still, they still have classes right now. I think their break would be later. So this is what it's about. Welcoming and transforming into the new earth, right? We're in the phase of transformation right now. And there's a lot going on. There's all kinds of bust is happening. All kinds of storm and turbulence and glass breaking events. Pun intended, with these alleged porn accusation from St. Vincent. There's the alleged all the incidents at the Argyle airport regarding trafficking, money laundering, and drugs. But we don't talk about these things. Why don't we talk about these things? What are we afraid of, folks? Why do we always go back to these little quotes and pushing these little quotes of the Bible and so we're in this time right now. We are supposed to be in our now time and understanding what is going on. We're seeing Armageddon. Okay? And I broke down Armageddon. Arm, age, done. Spell Armageddon. Arm, age, done. It's done. The armed age is done. They armed themselves with all of our resources. They armed themselves with all the rifles and stuff to take us down, which over the how many years we've been murdered and so forth. And we still so asleep, we just offered up our bodies and we didn't even know. For many of us, we don't even know that we are a target. Still, you know, they're arming themselves with our land and our resources from the volcano. They armed themselves with truckloads of it. They armed themselves with laundromats in St. Lucia. They armed themselves, I think the laundromat is called Reno. I think I mentioned it last program. We need to dig, people. Where are the investigators? We have a lot of young people who went to these schools to learn how to write, right? They claim that's the proper way to speak and write. And a lot of these people who are in the front line saying they went away for classes and to be educated properly and would correct us when we say lime, all of them. You know, there's those people who like quick to tell you and correct you. Well, I went and I got my PhD and you didn't say it properly. What happens when you are affected by these renegade and pirates that are, you know, wrestling you up and putting you in their so-called jail cells? You don't even recognize that you're being kidnapped, that you're being assaulted when they are touched, that you're being raped. You don't even recognize that. What good is your education if you do not know your rights? If you do not know that you have birthrights and hereditaments from this soil? What good is it to be going all over looking like a fool, an incompetent fool, when time comes and you ought to step up and stand on your square? What good is all of those documents and papers? I don't have them, but I am capable. And I'm not saying this to make you feel small. This is your tower moment. This is the time for you to say, wake up, Almighty Goddess. Wake up, mighty kings. Wake up. This is your time. This is the calm before the storm. And if you haven't learned your lessons by now, well, maybe you should take some notes from We Heal Nations, because this is the purpose that I've found. You need to find your purpose. And the people I'm speaking to in general, don't take it personal. This is a general thing, because this is what I'm meant to do. It is not, when I say things like this, it's not to point out anybody in particular. Because if you're in your feelings, you haven't healed. And this is the problem with most of our people. Okay? We think, because we were taught a certain way for how many years, that this is the way we approach everything. Leaving it up to the blue party or the red party or the green party or the yellow party. Everybody's partying, and the only party they're concerned about is the carnival party. And the carnival is a ritual for the same people who are keeping you there. Unless you wake up, you would not know how to use that energy for yourself. It's all about energy, because we are energy. The powers of the Creator, God, is energy. It is meticulous science. Knowing self is very important, especially is in this Armageddon. Age done. That's how it's spelled. But, you know, it's not how it's pronounced. The arm age done. Think about it. I always try to make things a lot simpler when I do my program, right? So let's say I was supposed to leave this for next week. Let's say we were to do um, the consciousness chart for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right? And you heard me speak before about chakras. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has chakras, right? And each of these chakras we spoke about, the different levels, like the crown chakra. Oh, you start from the crown or the root. The root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar chakra, the heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra on the crown. I'm thinking St. Vincent's so far from the crown right now. And there's a reason for that. Okay? This is how the invaders come in. If you're still in the sleep state, right? Which is where it's like the lowest chakra, the fear level, the lowest is 0, right? Which is death. Then just above that, shame is 20. This is the frequencies I'm talking about. So the frequency for shame is 20. The frequency for guilt is 30. So let me know, or you see for yourself where the most of these islands are in their chakras, right? This is the low. This is the root chakra. And apathy, 50. Grief, 75. Most people are still grieving, right? Guilt and shame. A lot of people, the island is in that still. Okay? Fear. Oh, yes. Fear. I mean, it's probably not as much right now because people are getting more and more aware. Desire. Okay? Mostly desire is around the money thing. Wanting the big house and to show themselves and to go party and drink and, right? So the island thing, right? Carnival just finished in Trinidad. What do you think that was about? The desire, all of those things, anger, courage is part. Courage is going from that, from the low, it's going into a little higher dimension now. When you're coming out of the third dimension, which is the 3D, right? Which is the where we're moving out of right now, right? So we're going into more courageous people now. People are coming out and speaking truth, right? And neutrality. You're not blaming or you're not shaming people. You're trying to stay neutral in a situation and look at both sides, right? For example, everything I'm looking, in a different light, coming out of the darkness. I see some of the people that you think, which is your enemy, is really not, because they're giving you the opportunity to see something that you haven't seen before. Like for the last 20 years, everybody was blaming, I'm going to call his name, let's say your prime servant, okay? Everybody was blaming the prime servant for everything. But remember, there's two sides. There's the opposition party, which they're all the same, right? But everything is there for a reason. If you start looking for everything being there for a reason and ask yourself what you're supposed to learn, then you can graduate to the next level. But we haven't done that. We haven't took a step back from the yellow t-shirt and the red t-shirt. So we kept ourselves, the country, and I have to say we, I wasn't voting, but I have to say we because people look at me as a Vincentian. But I've never really, deep down in my soul, I always told people that I'm universal. I didn't know why then, but I do know now. Okay, I'm international. I always say stuff like that because my thinking is not about a flag. The land is continuous. We are on land. The land is continuous. St. Vincent is not a planet. It's not another solar system. It is not somewhere else in, some faraway place. But you get the picture that to most of the people, it will appear like that. And their life depends on this one character. This is what all of those things that I list out, why you're still in low vibrational state, right? That's why. Because in order to turn that off, you need to learn the lessons. And everyone in this whole matrix is important. It's a chess game. So each player is important. Whether it's Friday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or the prime servant. Everybody, you have to look, come out like an outer body experience, same thing. Come out of what you were used to. Come out of that comfort zone that made you like your pacifier. You have to let go the pacifier after a certain age, right? You need to let it go now. Let it go. Throw it away. I used to suck my finger. These two fingers here. Now, you know, the two next to the thumb, right? And my grandmother, God bless her soul, used aloes. She used the fullness. She used all kind of things to get me. I did not care. I'd go and wash that thing off until I can feel comfortable again. I went back to my comfort zone. Yes, people, I did. But that is the same analogy is what is going on in most of the Caribbean islands. And even here, I wouldn't even say just there, because I've experienced people here in Montreal, Canada, when they get the information and they know it is true, they know it can help them, they go back to the comfort zone because it feels safer. It feels so, your seat, your bum don't warm up the seat and it don't feel cushy and good. It is unknown to step out and use that information, right? So again, you got to measure I'm not even the people right now, just the island itself. Why? You have to ask, why a place that has so much, that's what they claim, going for it. They're celebrating 6 years of Argyle International Airport. Big project. 2 mountains chopped down. Multiple uses of that soil that came off from there. What happened to the soil? Nobody asked questions. That's what I mean. You're sleeping. What happened to the soil, the rich soil that was growing all kinds of things over there? What was inside the soil? What was down under the mountain? What was discovered in terms of archaeology? Was this exposed to the general public? What was found? What were the riches that could help the people? Why was it jogged out somewhere else? Why were all the workers not from the land? Why so much secrecy? Why, what was done? Why are we still in the fear as an island? Okay? I'm not pointing fingers, folks. I'm looking at the island chakras. Okay? Now, willingness. Is there willingness to remove yourself from it? Is there willingness? This is coming now into the 4th dimension. So does St. Vincent have? I think for most part, most people have a willingness. Have we acceptance that we are part responsible? Do we have that acceptance yet? That everybody is one and everyone is equally obligated or have an obligation to make this transformation. Okay? In a light and reasoning. These islands have a tendency to handpick their people who can reason. And if you've been handpicking for the last, say, 50 years, because I'm going to be 59, then handpicking there, boy, either something wrong with the hand, the picking, I don't know what is wrong, but something is damn wrong with that kind of strategy, right? So, again, this is not a personal thing. I am looking at the chakras of the island, okay? We need to heal, folks. So we have to put the island in the mirror, the reflection. What do you want to see? What do you want to see in the next 5 years? If you want this to stop, if you are still depending on the handpick system and the red versus yellow and whatever else system that it is, the susu hand or whatever else that you do thinking that it's going to uplift you, People are reporting to me how the poverty is so high. Yes, I've seen comments on Facebook, from people like Brian Alexander, who's usually posting stuff. And another thing, like, I'm not putting anybody down, but people who have an opportunity to show things of what's going on, I find the focus is low vibrational because it's an ego thing. Because if you're constantly showing people that's related to sports and culture, the so-called sports and culture, which for them, everybody thinks the culture and sports is just partying, having a sport event, and drinking, and having a good laugh. That is not my culture, folks. That does not represent me. And another thing that I notice with all of that, it's always the male influence on that. Always. So you're telling me there's no woman in that country, on that land, in that area, in the region, that comes out in a positive, vibrating way, that shows a good culture of productivity and upliftment, when we are the ones that bring forth life? Just a question. It's just a question. The other thing that I'm noticing, in broadcasting on these media thing, is how we like to push these aircraft ideas and the tourists again, and investment, which has been going on for over 40 years, and these churches that are coming in with investment. Is it investment, folks, or is it infestment? Is it investment or is it infest? We need some investigation, because if in an investment, we first need to invest in ourselves and uplifting ourselves and healing ourselves. But to have other people coming and claiming that they're investing or infesting our soil, that's another story. Okay? If we can see the results of all of these investments and there's still poverty, not even still, we didn't come from poverty. I don't remember being poor. And when I say poor, do we use the word poor? Being poor meaning that you don't have those latest gadgets and all that. That doesn't make you poor because you don't have these things. Okay? What is wealth to you? We had good health. We had good production. We had good export of goods. We had healthy plants. We had a healthy social life. We had a healthy cultural life. The culture that I know is not what is being reflected in these people going and claiming to be the export in our cultures. Meaning you go and jump up with a what do you call it, a microphone, and singing all kind of, debilitating things that keep us at a low vibrational level. Right? How is that productive? How is that uplifting? That does not represent good culture. If it was good culture, we would be way far advanced and have no problem at all with our lifestyles. I wouldn't be hearing so much stories of women and men prostituting themselves. For a place that has more churches than there are libraries, again, more churches than there are libraries. Do we even have a good library? Just one really good library? Is there one really good library? But the bars and the churches outnumber the books. But a lot of people would say that we only need one book, right? That one book. Whew. That one book deceived a lot of people. I'm not saying the entire book is deceiving. Listen to what I said. The one book deceived and misled, like misinformation or misinterpretations of it. It's deceptive, right? So now to work our way up to a higher level, which is going to be bringing us into the fifth dimension, which basically is a consciousness state where we recognize that we are one and that we need to come together and make, like energy, like when you're wiring a house, you have all these wires in every room. Then you have to make it one in order for everything to work, right? Same thing. There's also a central box, right? That would be the consoles. The central box that maybe is connected to the bedroom. One is connected to the living room. One is connected to the kitchen. One is connected to wherever else. It's a simple breakdown of how we ought to live, right? So if we were to have a council as one people that takes care of different factions of life, we don't all need to have, a boat, for example. Say we have a community, a fishing community that needs a good fishing boat, or more than one fishing community. Say we're taking the island still, right? So the island of St. Vincent has, they said, 6 major towns. And in these major towns, we can have a boat or 2 or 3 boats that every community can have access to for fishing at different times. Someone organize a schedule, right? And we can also have boats that can travel from one end of the island to the other, because, folks, we live in an island. Everything is not going to be modal cars. We live in an island because roads get blocked, right? No, roads are narrow. Roads needs repairs. Roads, problematic. We're using hills. There are many things can happen. An island, the main way to travel should be a boat. That's using your good sense. I don't like to use common sense because not everybody have it. And if everybody have common sense, then this common sense is not working. So I have to say good sense. The good sense for people who live in an island would have access to boats. And boats are not expensive. Listen, there are graveyards of boats all over this world. And you're telling me it's difficult to get a brand new, when we are the people of the land, the resources back us? No, I don't believe that. I think there's a mechanism that stops us and keep us in a state of, the low vibration, fear, need, lack, so that we cannot rise to this level that we're transforming to. That's why they want you to use these products like urea. Okay, that's why they're spraying these things in the place. Okay, that's why they're telling you come in and take these shots, because they have us like we are stock, livestock. And sometimes they feel like they need to get some of their livestock for whatever reason, right? And it is stock, because believe it or not, folks, we've been traded all over the world for the since 1913, when they created the Federal Reserve Notes. And let me explain the Federal Reserve Notes. Now, there was a group of bankers who decided they want control, right? And they took away the gold and And I'm sure you can remember when they removed all the copper coins, right? The pennies, and in Canada was the 1 cent and so forth. In St. Vincent was the 2 cent and 1 cent. They took them off and give you these fake little coins, right? And then eventually they removed the next set of coins. And what do you think they were doing? They were stockpiling, just like when they want to start a shortage on certain food, like coffee, and they'll tell you it's a shortage, but they stockpile them to create the trade, right? Because everything is about commerce, folks. Everything is about commerce. Commerce is your, let's say, Achilles heel. That and the Federal Reserve notes. You think you're getting paid, but it's a debt note. When they remove that, when they remove those things, right? When they remove all the coins and all our gold and so forth all over the world, when everything was stolen from us, they came up with the idea to print monies, right? To print these paper money that says, the term is used as, it's a promissory note, but they use the term on the dollar. It says it on the dollar. Legal tender. And we spoke about what legal means, right? Legal is not necessarily lawful. Legal and legalese, it's not lawful. It's a language used to deceive you in contract on the maritime law, right? So they cannot use the lawful way because we are law. The fact that we exist is universal, and the laws of nature, which is land, air, and water, right? And that spells law. So we have water in our body. We have air, and we have land. Copper, zinc, all of that is in our body. So what does that make us? It makes us law. So if we are aware of who we are, when the legalese, the legal fiction comes, you will know how to stand on your square, right? And folks, believe it or not, there's absolutely no need to protest anything. When you're in protest motion, is you're in a low vibrational. You're low vibrational. That means you're incompetent. You don't know who you are, and you do not know where you're going. All right? So you need to learn the truth to heal, and you need to know law. I, self, law, and master. And from learning all of these things, you are able to know which method to use to stop the infiltrators, to stop the fraudsters, to stop the violation, to stop the rape on our land. Simple. And when you become aware of this, life will be much, much easier. And again, we have to come together to do it. There are too many people trying to decide who and what last name and who they think they should get rid of and whatever. You know, everybody has a purpose in this Armageddon. I thank Gonzal for showing me the light. I said his name in that time. I thank his wife especially, because believe it or not, I didn't even know these people. And many years ago, when I was in St. Vincent in the 90s, she approached me. I guess she was in fear, because I used to call in on the radio station a lot, and Ralph used to follow after me using some of my ideas. Yes, I said it on this, and that is a fact. That was when Jackson was on air. So I got a visit from her. I didn't know who this woman was until afterwards. So I have to thank, I have to thank them, because part of healing is going back in your memory to learn your lessons. And there are many, many different incidents that brought me to where I'm at, to these revelations of how important it is that each of these lessons, but it's not to hold on to, folks. You have to find out what the lesson was and move on and stay in the present and give thanks to the ancestors for their guidance and say, okay, where to next? Can you guide me in the next move? I'm waiting for you. I trust you. What is my next move? And this is where I'm at. And I'm so thankful for it. So the next level, rising between the here and the new earth, is the new humanity, right? The consciousness, the oneness that we feel as, a being. Like, you have to clean up yourself and see in the other person things that you think you're blaming them for, but it's really you. You're pointing a finger of them, but you have those issues. You have those issues. It's like, it's the mirror, it's the darkness, it's the duality. Many a times when we think, oh, he too this, he too selfish, he too that. Look and ask yourself if it's not you, man. I spoke about this last week. Wasn't it this same conversation? But you really have to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And many people are wrecking themselves right now because they can't see, they refuse to see. The truth hurts. That's just how it is. Okay? So we're at the place now where we have to find that inner love. When we love ourselves, the good and the bad and the ugly, that means you can love everybody else. Because whatever you see in others, you see you. Right? And then when I say love, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get together and, and do stuff. You just have to have that love, that self-love, that you can appreciate and respect others. They have their part to play. And karma will take care. If they're doing evil, then they're not going to be here. You can't do anything about it. It's already done. So it makes sense to just take care of you, but not in a selfish, egotistical way, so that you can harmonize and be balanced for the new earth. Simple. And it's going to take a while. And even though it's going to take a while, the people who've been through it already, they're here for you. I'm here for you. We're here for you because it's a tough process. It is. And it's sad to see that a lot of people are still hurting each other. It's sad to see all these so-called accidents done out of recklessness and the ego, because all these crashes and stuff like that, it's really your lower self, your ego. You haven't discovered get away from these feelings of feeling that you have something to prove or whatever, whatever it is, chasing the money, whatever it is, why you on the road reckless like that. Because it's not money. You're not really getting paid. If it's creating debt, it is not a payment. So you're putting a lot of energy into something and you're not getting anything you think you're getting. So what you're doing is creating the energies that the true enemy needs to keep you in that place. And that you can look and see who those true enemies, like the Red Cross, right? And those people who are constantly asking for your blood. Okay? They're literally begging you for your blood. And they're sucking your blood financially, the so-called. Right? So you have to now pull yourself away and let go what you knew. This is the calm before the storm. Let go what you were taught and reset your mind. We spoke about this before, but this is at the cusp of it. Like we're going around the corner now. We're coming into the new storm of the new world. And I'm not talking about the New World Order. That's why they get everybody so confused, because they knew this was coming. They knew the change for the shift in empowerment of the people and the freedom for the people. They knew it was coming. So they had to kind of do like how they do everything, right? They kind of hijack it and make a twin to it, just like your name, your identity, with the all caps. They created one that looks like you. You know, you see it on paper, it looks like your name and everything, but it's not. Yeah. I'll tell you a story with me how I figured this out for myself. I knew about it, but I never experienced. But in my journey here, my things were taken from me when I was removed from an apartment that I had after I declared my status, right? And these people are very vicious and reluctant. They're pirates. Think of them, there's pirates living among you. The pirates are the people who are demanding rent and all of that. I don't care who you are. It has nothing to do with skin color. Because a lot of these people know the truth, but they're profiting off other people's blood. Okay? So, the police knew I had stood on my square, because they came, they were called, they came twice, and I asked her, did you get an invitation? Is this your property? And she kept asking me for an ID. I said again, did I ask you here? Did you get an invitation? Is this your property? So when I said that again, I think I said it about 3 times, when she asked me, well, do you have a Medicare card? And I said to her, do I look like I need a Medicare? Because I do take good care of myself, folks. And I learned very early what they were doing, and I stopped going to the doctors here. Okay? So even though my system was still very contaminated with all kinds of stuff that in the past, the food and stuff that we ate, and even now we can't be sure what we're eating, right? Because everything is contaminated because they have a plan, right? So after the 3rd time, she turned around and went downstairs, and she told the woman, this is a civil matter. For me, it's not a civil matter. I know who I am. I'm on my land. Civil is still citizenship. Civil matters for those citizens. When you know who you are and you're on your land, a free divine being on your land, you have sovereignty. As a matter of fact, I have royal bloodline in my family on the land. The original people I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, a lot of people might think it's those other people who claim to be royalty. How royalty works, it's the original blood of the people on earth from the beginning. We were here a long time. So when it's chased back on both sides, my father's side and my mother's side, there's royalty. Okay? So when you know who you are again, and you know the law of the land, which is different from the law of the country, which is really corporate policies, right? You need to understand that. There's a big difference. So, again, for those people who've been educated in legalese and have their, I don't even think there's a license for practicing law. They just practice law. And listen to the word, practice law. You can't practice law. You are law if you are in your living sense of knowing who you are, right? There's just law, right? So legal, they may have a license to do legal procedures. I don't know if they have license. I know they have certificates. I'm not sure about license. And they took an oath. That's another story. So, yeah, when that happened, they proceeded to the next step. I was there for a while, and the Chinese was a Chinese woman, and two Chinese living close by. And I know the other one next door. I confirm now that she seemed to be a spy because of the terms that she used. Because I went back a few times to ask certain questions, and just by her replies, it's not like a regular person. The terms that she's using, she may have been born here, but a lot of people were planted on the land to do certain things. And if you're not of that awareness, you're not going to know how to operate. You're not going to be able to spot the liars and the cheaters. So you have to really educate yourself. All right? So she was the one who encouraged her to do what she did, because there were other people living there that was like my skin tone, and they kept raising the rent to push them out to bring Chinese in. And that's is happening all over the world, folks, all over our land. Okay? And a lot of the people that look like beings are not beings, not true living beings. Well, they might be, but they're not with souls. Let's just say that. So, and as you get into your awakening, you'll be able to see that. Because right now, when your vibration is low, you're not able to connect with the source to identify the things around you, and to see the warnings, right? So that's one way of explaining this. So when my stuff were removed from that house, and now I want to retrieve them. I went through a lot. I want to retrieve them. So I didn't know where they were. When I found out where they were, the gentleman said to me, because they were doing something illegal and unlawful, they put it in the previous person's name that was at the apartment, right? Because her lease was in. So I couldn't get my things. They said it was in that other person's name. But the way he said it to me, and I'm glad I found the email and I wrote him, so I have all the proof. He wrote to me that the items or the belongings, the stuff is stored under the name, and it was in all caps. And then he said the person's name again, but in lower and uppercase, has to come and get it. So then I had the questions. This is why you have to be seeing things with all eyes, because now I recognize something. I recognize that he's changed it from all caps to the upper lowercase. And that was implying something. And I studied that email for a minute. And then I came up with the question. So I said, so are you telling me that you want the upper and lowercase person to come and pick up, to come and sign off for something, for belongings that is under the uppercase? Are you saying that she has to commit fraud in order for me to get my things? And with that, he told me where they were and told me to come and get them. With that simple question, are you telling me that you're asking this person, which is upper lowercase, to come and sign a document claiming that she's in the all caps to get stuff that belongs to me? Are you saying you want her to commit fraud? That's when he released that. See how powerful that is? Knowledge is power, folks. And I was just so at peace with that one information. Now I'm digging more. I'm finding out more stuff now, because I no longer want to use money, because I understood that there was no money, that everything is based on your signature. Because just having it stored there under a name, it is being claimed for maybe credits, but that document is going to be used, or instrument is going to be used to access the fund, or I wouldn't even say funds, the means of payment. And then in that system, which is normally these documents, insurance papers, all of that, they're being traded. And how I know this is that I started to change the way I sign stuff. And when I sign all rights reserved, or when I signed it differently and I put by, they're telling me they can't serve me. They can't serve me, that they're not going to accept this signature. And folks, they cannot do that. That is blatant fraud. You have a right. You have your birthrights, and you do not waive your rights. You do not let anyone force you into signing something when you come into your awareness in a way that they can steal your rights. All right? So when this happened, and this is happening to a lot of people, it happened to me, but sometimes when you really need to have something done, you can put it the way you normally put under threat, duress, and coercion, right? TDC. Under threat, you were forced to sign that. And then you could write a letter to the finance minister or whoever, telling them that this happened and you want an indictment on these folks. All right? Because you're not supposed to be refused service for your own resources, because that's your resources. Wherever you are having service, they're there to serve the public. They're public servants, no matter what. Even if you think you have a private company, it is not private. You registered it under the de facto government. Right? And you are protected by the human rights. You have to know that. You have your birthrights. You have your bloodline right, or bloodkin rights, or inherited rights as the people of the land. You have that. Don't let them tell you who you are. Nobody's telling me who I am. Okay? So on that note, folks, let's take a break and come right back. I'm so happy that I can get to speak to you on this subject, because I see a lot of people are confused. So I have to do this. And again, I'm going to continue after on the consciousness of the island of St. Vincent. All right? Which is dealing with the chakras. We'll be right back. We're going to continue on the vibrations of the island itself, right? So when the frequency is at 20, really, we're miserable, From 20, you're miserable if you're feeling guilt and there's blame. The view of life is very low. There's evil, hopelessness. There's frightening stuff happening around you, disappointing things. That's on a lower vibration. If you're into desires and stuff, it's about cravings and habits that are not good for you and stuff like that, disappointing things and things like that. You go into I'm worthy, yes, but at the same time there's still some anger, there's still some hate around. You're still in that if you don't heal properly, the use of your energy is not productive, right? So now, we were talking about when we got up to to the courage and the frequency that is more around 200, right? So if you go on YouTube and research the frequencies, you see all the different ones that sometimes you could just put it on to raise your vibrations if you're feeling down, right? So that you can clear the chakras, so forth. And you think that things are feasible now when you're raising your vibration. You have a little bit more clarity, and you're starting to trust again. Like that's rising into 250, trust, satisfactory, etc. You have to develop some sense of purpose, and then that raises your vibration. So you got to think of the island itself in that. Where is it? What level is it at? And what can we do to raise those vibrations a little higher? There are many things with the driving that I see. A lot of the problem is the loud music and the type of music that's being played, and also the fact that the respect for the general community is not there anymore. Like you have young ones, the little ones are being raped, and even in the vans, nobody really should pay attention. They're squeezed up. They're made to come off the seat because the money is more important than their safety. So that's very low vibrational, right? I'm not pointing out any one person or any one thing. You're looking into just going to the church to get answers. You're not looking into yourself or your community. You're not working together as a community. The church has nothing really to offer except ask you for that for what you have to offer. The government is the same way. So that's low vibrational because it is not dealing with the issues that is right in front of you. It's not really happening to them. It's not them, it's you. So if you're not taking care of you, you cannot see that, right? And the acceptance and forgiveness. Despite all of that, can you forgive? Can you harmonize? Step up in your area of skills, in your passion to make things rise to another level, right? So, and then we're going up into more higher frequencies of 400 and stuff. You have meaning and understanding, right? And then it goes higher, 440, which is where really it should be. Most people should be here, which is inner wisdom and inner love. 440 to 500, the frequencies, reverence, benign, so there you have to keep a balance and keep going, right? So the 540 frequency is more serenity, and you feel complete, right? The oneness, the joy, presence of peace. Now going into 600, bliss. Like no matter what's going on around you, and I remember my grandmother would just be sitting there, whether she's holding something she's knitting or something she's sewing. She has this smile, and it appears like if she's not even in the room, she's like somewhere else in a mind, just enjoying that moment, that bliss, And then when it gets to 670, there's non-duality. It's like meaning that you're not struggling anymore with that lower self, higher self, the evil versus the good, the dark versus the light. So your frequencies are getting more into awareness. 700 is awareness. 800, the great void. That's where now you start to make the transformation, when you let go everything, all the fears of the rent and not being paid, this, not having anything, the fears of lack. You just let it go and let the universe do its work. There's a void there, and things start to create the divine grace of love. So now the universe is with you. It's with you. And before you step outside, you're going somewhere, you're not sure if you're going to get a ride. You step outside, and 2 minutes after somebody comes, you're going so and so, and you go, yeah, That's where it is. That's where you let go of everything, and everything just bam, 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 bam. Right? Where is St. Vincent with that? There was a time when it was like that. You know? There was a time when whatever you needed just popped up. We can get back to that. I'm pretty sure we can get back to that. It's a possibility, folks. We can work at it. And I may be saying this for St. Vincent, but it falls for everywhere. But I'm focused on St. Vincent because, a lot of people have questions. I see things, and I feel that I have a duty to use what I know to bring it to a better understanding of who we are as a people and where we're going to go in this new era. So this is the calm before the storm. Are you prepared? So this is part of the preparation for it. You know what's coming. So your mind has to be prepared for it. You have to be in the knowing and the awareness of the waves, so you can get a surfboard and just hop on, right? So, and it goes higher, goes to the 12th dimension, but I don't think that's full consciousness, right? Where the frequency is 1000. So, and I'm just touching on those parts, but there's the view of life, the key to to ascending in a way that you achieve your goals. There's many different aspects to it, for your great enlightenment and what your goals are and where you are, where you fit in the one energy. Because although we are one, we do have we had a chance for the longest time to be individuals, and we had the free will to do it. We still do. But right now, this is where the karma of that is taking place. So, good and bad, the light and the dark. So, whatever, when you say karma, it doesn't have to be bad. Like for example, if you've been on the straight and if you've learned your lessons, there's nothing but goods coming here. Abundance meaning in wisdom, in everything that you need when you need it, so this is where we're at. And where do you want to fit in the next era, right? So how do we be a part of the change? That's what we have to ask. So how do we uplift each other? How do we heal? Just be there. Just be there. If you are at a level, don't be afraid to ask for help too when you need it, if you need it. I don't think it's the same as the last 5 years. Things are changing. You can feel it. So you have to trust your instincts, your gut, your divine guides. You have to trust it. And that voice that tells you to give a helping hand, like today I was in the dollar store with my granddaughter, and there was this lady in a wheelchair, but she was like at the one end of the store, and I didn't see her yet, but something told me to look around, and I saw her. And the way she was looking at me, I looked at her and I said, "Do you need help?" And she said yes. So I walked up to her. She wanted to help me get a reacher, so this thing that they could use to pull things from the top. So they were selling it in the store. And even if you don't have a disability, as they say, it's, a disadvantage to move around, it's not just for that. As I picked it up for her and was giving it to her, I said, "Hey, this would be handy because I'm not that tall, there's certain things in the cupboards that I need to get sometimes." So it has this little handle that you could, close whatever in, like if it's a can or whatever, and pull it forward and then tip it down. So she bought 2 of those. She asked me to bring them. Just doing something simple like that to help somebody. It's changing the vibration of the universe instead of ignoring and just turning your back and feeling like it's not none of your business, right? And a lot of people do that too. So there are many other situations like that. So, sometimes it's just taking someone's baby for a second while they do something, it's simple things that we used to do without even thinking for a minute. We need to trust again. We need to feel safe again and show that we can trust. You can be trusted, that you're harmonized with the universe. So another thing that happened this weekend, I went to I was invited to come and listen to Farrakhan. He was in Chicago this weekend on Sunday. And I have a school friend from back in Dawson College in Montreal here. We went to school together. He invited me because it's a nation of Islam. And, I said, why not? I'm always in the house. So I decided to go. And I'm glad I went. It was interesting. I took notes of his presentation. And basically, funny enough, his topic was about Armageddon, the start of Armageddon. And he put himself out there. But I was kind of, in a sense, disappointed with some of the things, because he spoke mainly of all this anti-Semitic issue with him, all the other people that were pointed out as anti-Semitic. We went through that issue over and over, and what the meaning of Semitic and anti-Semitic means, and brought up a verse of Revelation that I usually use. Those who are Jews, who say they are Jews and are not. That's in Revolution 3:9, I think. I've used it a few times on Facebook, like in the past. And he spoke about this was on the 26th, and he talked about being a man of the people, or the children of God, and him being a man of God. And when he said that I'm fighting to vote, being a part of fighting to vote, like the same with I spoke about Martin Luther King and all the others that came and did that. I find it conflicting for me because of my knowledge level, because what I've learned, that we're not supposed to be in the voting system. We're not supposed to be a part of the vote as organic people to the land. We were never supposed to be a part of that, because that was a part of the colony stuff as to how they would govern themselves on our land, right? So that was kind of a conflicting thing for me. And another thing was the fundraising. There's a big fundraising for the Nation of Islam, which I understand, because he does have protection and he needs protection. The Nation of Islam needs protection. He has a great military, which no other of our nations, nobody else has. The people join him, they trust him, they love him. I love him too. I love the fact that he has great charisma. He has this sense of leadership that is very powerful. But we're not perfect as humans. As I say, we're perfect souls, but we're not perfect as humans. However, knowing what I know, some of the things, not everything, but I love him, and him too. He's welcoming everyone. He's asked even those, he used the phrase good Jews, to join him, because he knows what's coming is going to affect the dark, right? The dark is going to be going away from this land. That's straightforward, right? It's been told, and that's where it's going. If the vibration is rising, that means the evil is going, right? Because the evil can only be maintained in the lower frequencies versus, around 50 and 30. The frequencies of the planet is already in a higher vibration. And you can see that because of the plants that are growing and the soil, and it's there. The fruits, if you look all over the planet, there are things changing up. So the vibration is already rising. And they're not telling you how many people have left this land since the new energies are coming in. Okay? But there's a high number. It's higher than the last pandemic that they had, where most of it was because of the mask that everybody was wearing, and also people were injected, or the blankets that they were given that caused illnesses. It was like diseases don't, as we're learning, and we know diseases create. It's a poison that creates. And the other disease that we get is because we're not eating properly, and we're not healing ourselves. We're not cleaning up our chakras. So it makes it much easier for us to get sick, right? Then another program, I can talk for each of the zodiac and what they each represent. Like they each represent a part of the body. Aries is the head, for example. I know Aquarius is the knee, but like we can talk about that. So if you under those, when you know these things, then you know if you have, and people that I know under these signs, they actually have problems with those areas of their body. So when you know these things, you're able to know what to do and how to heal, right? We're science. We're people of science. We're frequencies too, so we heal with that. We heal with frequencies, colors, light, all of that. So it was very interesting listening to him. The other thing that I acknowledged was, I remember when I was younger and I went to one of their functions too. One of the things that turned me off was the separating of the male and female. Now, I don't mind that you teach different things, because we have different obligations, as our energies are different. The male or the masculine versus feminine energies, right? But to constantly feel that you have to separate, because you need to merge, you need to share the energy of love and the balance of both. So they were doing that even at the presentation, which was on a TV. So that was kind of, because I was sitting behind someone that I knew and I was speaking, and that happens to be the side that they designated for men. And I can sit, I feel I can sit anywhere. So that kind of bothered me. I'm not criticizing Nation of Islam, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying we have a right to be who we are, and to observe and to learn from our observation, right? And it is time for us to detach from all the old beliefs and the old stuff. So that was confusing. So I don't know if the Nation of Islam practice or teaches anything about the vibrations and where we at in this evolution. I don't know. So I can't say anything more about that. But there was a lot of invitation to get other people to join the Nation of Islam, because he offers protection in these coming times, and they have the barcode system that you online on the NOI.org. You can go and you can read stuff there. You have to open your mind to read and learn from everybody. The problem with us is that we're closed off from getting information. So it's easy for us to be misinformed. And the only way is for you to know when you read and feel the vibration of your heart. if it tells you that this is sound or this is not sound. Just like I was able to point out the different things that I appreciate from the Nation of Islam and the things that I do not really agree with. We all have that ability, and it's the same with everything in what we're doing as a people. And we could always agree to disagree and still work together. We still can work together. So as long as we have that goal and that vision that is one, there's no problem with that. And actually, after the event, there's a few of the brothers that we had this talk, and this is where I'm coming in closing eventually. I'm not closing now, but we had this discussion regarding one gentleman there from Haiti. Okay, he was talking about the problem with black people. This is what he said. The black people problem is they don't know economics. And I looked at him, I said, I don't like the term black people in this sense, because I am aware of why it's being used. Like we say, dark to light. If you're always being told you're black, you're black, you're black, you're in darkness. Okay? It's an analogy for me that I'm taking. Right? And he says, a lot of them say, oh, we're gods, we did this and the pyramid and all of that. But what are you doing? Like, what courses are you taking? How much? He's so insistent that it takes money and we need money. But my thing was that we need to heal first. But at the end of it, we were both saying the same thing. We need to detach from the things and relearn. But he said it in another way, right? And the economics, what he means was about drumming up business and stuff. We've always done that. We always traded, whether it was for the money or just traded to have something done. Like if you needed your house built and wired and all of that, you know somebody who could do that. And then you had food. You had like a farm. So you offered all the food and stuff like that for them and whatever you can trade with. So we always had the economics. So I disagreed on that level, but I knew what he was saying in a sense. But in order for us to come to the point where we can bring these things together again, we need to heal from the damage of the lies and deception of the citizenship and the patriotic thing and the Commonwealth system and all of that. We need to heal from that. We need to know who we truly are, and at the end of it, we came to that agreement. We spent about an hour talking back and forth about these things, which is good to get out. And it was not in a high-pitched thing. It was, we were in a circle and everybody took turns. There were actually people, because I've been to other places where people don't really listen. They want you to listen to what they're saying and then they don't listen. But this was very productive. Each person, and then when we were aware that someone wasn't getting to speak, we would say, listen, I think she has something to say. Can you just listen for a second? So we need to get back to that. So I'm so glad that I went. It was a very intriguing evening. It was very, very inspiring. I also got a book that I got two actually. Okay, so this is How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad. Okay, so there was, let me see if I could see something in here that I could read regarding eating. Well, there's the page 29, how to eat food from hurting us. How to keep food from hurting us. Okay, well, he goes, I thank Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises all due forever, for bringing to us life and light so that we may be able to enjoy life and to enjoy that life longer than we have previously enjoyed it. Everything has to do with what we put into our body, whether it's knowledge or food, like physical food, because that is food too, right? And it says many years could be added to our lives if we only knew how to protect our lives from our enemies. It says their enemies. As he, meaning Master Fard Muhammad, said to me, food keeps us here. It is essential that we eat food which gives and maintains life. That same food destroys life. Therefore, to keep this food from destroying our lives, we must protect our lives as well as we possibly can from the destruction of food. If we eat the proper food and eat at the proper time, the food will keep us living a long, long time. So I just wanted to read that section of it, but there's many other stuff in here, and even gives you what types of food, etc., what time. Before even getting that book, I said I wanted the book, but as I went there, they were there, and it was the last book one and about book two. It was the last book two. So one was given and one I bought. So that was, again, divine, right? So it's I think they were also celebrating Savior's Day, and his message was that the Armageddon has started, and he is sacrificing himself basically to save his people, meaning that when he speaks the truth, those Jews or whoever is always coming after him, he's prepared, and he has his army to protect him anyway, but he's prepared for his people because he loves his people. That was the general message. And I felt good that I went. He made a lot of jokes. He's a very funny man. He's a very, very funny man. So, like I've said, he brought up the fact that the truth shall set you free, which is more powerful than anything. When we speak the truth or we put the truth on paper, like I said, when I spoke the truth to get my things set free, So that's why the information that you're getting from these programs is so powerful and helpful for your Armageddon. Bring the arms down, right? So with that, folks, I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Love you as always, and I'm grateful to the radio, Bay News Radio.net, and all the people who are listening or follow me, or I don't like the term follow, who inspired or interested in the information and use it. That's what it's for, So peace and love. I send you all blissful light and love so that you can come into the brightest light and free yourself. Peace and love.